everybody, and welcome back to another Universe Sandbox video. Now, one thing that gets mentioned a lot in science fiction is terraforming. One day we might, terraform Mars, for instance, and have it a second home. And one of these instances of terraforming is in one of my favorite games, Surviving Mars, where you build a base on the planet Mars. I've made 2 series on it now. And in the first series, we did the terraforming. We increased the temperature, thickened the atmosphere, added water to the surface, and then eventually planted trees and made the entire planet breathable. But how realistic is Surviving Mars's approach? A lot of games do terraforming very, very differently. So I just want to see how realistic is Surviving Mars's terraforming, and with the tools we have in Universe Sandbox, we can try and simulate that. Now that also brings into question how realistic is Universe Sandbox. We've never terraformed a planet before, unless we're counting what we're doing to Earth right now, but that's kind of the opposite, I would think. So yeah, Universe Sandbox will have to be our kind of accurate terraforming, in air quotes, so you guys can't see because I don't have a webcam on. In Surviving Mars, how you start... Well, yeah, you start by landing rockets and getting people, but when you start terraforming, you start with the greenhouse gas generator, and it takes fuel, and it burns the fuel, and you get temperature that increases the temperature of the planet. Because again, there's 4 steps. There's temperature, atmosphere, water, and then vegetation. So you start by increasing the temperature. You would think that that would probably be carbon dioxide, right? We're burning fuel. We're probably getting carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, so I should just increase atmospheric CO2. The thing is, I don't think it's carbon dioxide. I think it's probably water, because the fuel in the game is gotten by pumping water into a fuel refiner. And while there's ways to, get methane from water, like a complicated process, that it requires other things to be added to it. Whereas this is just, we put water in, you get fuel out. So I think it's pretty safe to assume the fuel in Surviving Mars is hydrolox fuel. So we're just going to start with adding more water vapor to the atmosphere. And water vapor is a greenhouse gas. So let's just go ahead and increase this a little bit. Maybe 5%, and then vaporize it all. So now we have an atmosphere that has a lot of water vapor in it. So we have... that's 833 atmospheres of Earth. I think I definitely overdid it there. Gosh, this slider really doesn't take much. Wait, if we drag it all the way, does that just... Okay, that just makes Mars completely water. Okay, let's not do that. I don't know if we can Control Z. No, I don't think that works. Okay, let's do a new. Let's do a new. Let's start again. Yeah, I didn't realize how quickly that was gonna happen. I didn't realize how quickly the water just and all of a sudden Mars is now a water planet. That's not what we want. We just want to add a little bit of water, because we're having these little factories that are just pumping out water vapor. So how do we... So double the gas mass of water on Mars. Let's also slow this down so we're not looking at a planet that's trying to spin itself to pieces. Okay, that's a bit more of a reasonable spin. We might have to speed it up later, because terraforming is going to take a while, but yeah, if we look, let's double the water mass again. As you can see, the water is boiling away. So we add water, and it's immediately... If it's boiling, let's do times 10, and it boils away. Yeah, that might be a problem. So we have no protective shield. Nothing's really going to stay for a very long time. In Surviving Mars, you do start off by doing this, and I think it's reasonable to assume that Mars could hold on to some extra atmosphere. But eventually, it's all going to get blown away by the sun, so we need a magnetic field. So let's go ahead and give a magnetic field. And this is done in the game by building little magnetic field generators or by launching magnetic satellites. So let's see. Magnetic field. Actually, I just want to see. So has the... I'm interested... Okay, so has the temperature changed at all? I don't think so. So we're adding some water, and it pretty much all gets boiled away immediately, but... Yeah, the temperature, not really affected by that. Okay, there we go. So magnetic field strength. How strong is Earth's magnetosphere? Yeah, let's check on Earth, because we want to basically apply that. We could probably go for a little bit less magnetosphere, because Earth has an absolutely massive one. Earth doesn't really need this much. Earth, you're kind of overcompensating a little bit, I think. Yeah, so we can probably do, like, maybe 0.1 Gauss. Or, yeah, 0.1 Gauss. So there it is. It's 1.16 radius of the Earth. There we go. So that's a decently sized magnetosphere. Again, it probably could be... Yeah, even that would probably be enough. Doesn't really need much. So anyway, now that Mars actually has a magnetosphere, let's go ahead and try adding water again. Again, I'm sure Mars could probably handle adding a little bit of water vapor to the atmosphere without it immediately being blasted away. I'm not sure how realistic that is, but there's a chance that the order of things in surviving Mars might be a little off, and that, yeah, we probably should be adding the magnetosphere before doing anything. But yeah, the magnetosphere is like one of the last things you add, which is kind of interesting. I don't know, that's still blasting the water away. Really. Yeah, stuff's happening. We're getting, like, clouds and stuff. Okay, it just takes a while, I think. The water, I think, is maybe depositing? Yeah, it's depositing. So it's freezing onto the surface. So, one of the other things we can do is we can import some carbon dioxide, because one of the things you can do in surviving Mars is import greenhouse gases from Earth, and that would most likely be carbon dioxide. So let's continue adding some carbon dioxide. Let's increase some carbon dioxide. There we go. We're starting to get some stuff happening. Yeah, things are getting marginally warmer, so let's keep adding carbon dioxide. Keep adding CO2. So I think we were adding water. It was just immediately freezing. So yeah, maybe water's not the best, and who knows, maybe the fuel in surviving Mars is like methalox or something, and that would burn into carbon dioxide, but again, the game doesn't really have that much detail. It's hard to tell, like, what exactly the fuel you're mining is. But yeah, we can... If it's methalox, then yeah, this would burn and provide some greenhouse gases. And we would need quite a few of them. Quite a lot of greenhouse gases to bring the temperature down. I guess we need to maybe speed up, you know, a little bit more time. It might take a little bit longer for anything to happen here. I want more CO2, please. I want warm... There we go. Now we're starting to warm up. So yeah, again, terraforming takes a while. But yeah, now we're starting to warm up. Pump the atmosphere full of greenhouse gases. Do what we're doing to Earth, basically. We got like a band around the equator. That's interesting. It's warming up, though. Let's go for like years per second, months per second. See if we can get the planet to warm up at all. And it's getting there. It's getting toasty. You could go out there with like a light jacket. Obviously, you'd need oxygen. So yeah, by adding CO2 to the atmosphere, we have increased the temperature. I don't know if we've increased it too much now. We're not trying to create a Venus here. We're trying to create a... we have like one mass of the Earth. We're trying to create, you know... a... not a Venus, but Alright, so now we're cooling again. And look, some of the water we've already added is starting to melt. And come down on the surface. So that's pretty good. Yeah, obviously some of the fuel we would be burning would also contain water. Water is a product of combustion, so yeah, water would begin to form on the surface. But we can also mine water from Mars and then pump it up to the surface as well. That's one of the things you do in the game. So half an Earth of CO2, and there we go. Let's turn off that magnetic sphere so I can actually see what's going on. We're at an 80% Earth similarity with an 18.2% life likelihood already. Look at that. We got Valles Marineris all filled up with water. Got some ice forming on the top of Olympus Mons there. This looks pretty good. Yeah, look at Olympus Mons. That's a nice little island there, just by adding a bit of CO2 to the atmosphere. But yeah, currently the composition of the atmosphere is... Let's change this to like kilograms. Yeah, a lot of that. Not a whole lot of oxygen. Not a whole lot of stuff to breathe. So, we need to add oxygen. We have very little oxygen. So, the next thing we need to do... actually, hold on. I want to see what the overall... Before we get too far into it. Total mass. So, yeah, I guess set water to ocean mass. I guess we could have put methane in the atmosphere, too. I didn't realize that was a greenhouse gas option. Yeah, that could have been another way to increase the greenhouse gases. Just pump methane into the atmosphere. That's a really good greenhouse gas. Okay, yeah, I don't think we can see how much. It says total material. I wanted to see like how much atmosphere we had. Earth's atmosphere. Yeah, we don't quite have a full Earth's atmosphere of all this stuff. I mean, half an Earth atmosphere of CO2 is kind of crazy. Maybe, I think once we get the oxygen, we might be able to bring the CO2 back a little bit. Because oxygen and water vapor would also, you know, greenhouse gas a little bit. And yeah, a lot of stuff needs to be changed. But yeah, one thing we can do is we can add some oxygen. And in Surviving Mars, how we add oxygen is by processing the rocks. So there's a building, the atmospheric generator, it takes in waste rocks, and it produces atmosphere. And we can pretty confidently say that this is just oxygen generator. Mars is composed of iron oxide, iron and oxygen mixed together. If you just heat up those rocks, the oxygen will come out. So if we start releasing oxygen into Mars's atmosphere, maybe not that much. We'll do 0.8 atmospheric pressure of Earth, because that's... Well, actually, no, there isn't really that much oxygen on Earth. There's a lot of nitrogen. We gotta add some nitrogen. I don't know how we would get nitrogen. Possibly there's some nitrogen minerals on Mars. I'm not sure, but this would be our 80%. So yeah, I guess there'd be a chance that there would be nitrogen in the rocks as well. The Surviving Mars doesn't really say that, but I guess we can assume that maybe we throw in a mixture of oxygen and nitrogen and all that. Again, I guess this is a lot more complicated. So maybe, I don't know. I was going into this thinking, Surviving Mars terraforming's sort of realistic, but honestly, not really. Because if we're considering the fuel's hydrogen, and that don't work. Can't just release water vapor into the atmosphere. That doesn't work. It's gotta be like a methane or something. And now we're melting Mars rocks. Okay, that makes oxygen. That makes sense. But does it though? Because we need nitrogen. We can't do half CO2, half oxygen. That would you die. You would die with that much CO2 in the atmosphere. So yeah, there needs to be nitrogen. There needs to be 0.8 Earth masses of nitrogen. And then probably we can tone back the CO2. Let's see. No, the energy in and energy out is balanced. We might honestly require a better greenhouse gas than CO2. What about ammonia? Is ammonia a better greenhouse gas? So if we have like half our atmosphere of ammonia, 0.8 Earth atmospheres of ammonia, that is something. We have something. Yeah, it just seems like warming up Mars is a lot harder than you'd think. It's a lot harder than you'd think. One of the other things in Surviving Mars that you can do, and I kind of completely forgot about this, and honestly, this might be the main way to warm up Mars, is by directing more sunlight towards it. In Surviving Mars, you can build space mirrors, and that is one way to kind of get a big boost towards heating up the planet. You build some space mirrors, you aim the space mirrors at Mars, and you heat the planet up that way. So that honestly might be the way to go, because I'm not sure. I'm not really thrilled with having an atmosphere of ammonia. I mean, hey, it says it's Earth likelihood and that people could survive, or life could survive. So I don't know, but yeah, I don't really know what other better greenhouse gases we have. I guess we can go ahead and add more water. Just go ahead and get the planet up there. Oh, now the temperature is increasing. Hold on, is having water a really good just thermal holder honor? Yeah, you bury a lot of stuff, like Olympus Mons is barely poking out. You really lose a lot of the real estate. Oh man, we lost all the prime real estate. Again, if we had some mirrors aimed, we would need, less water to get that warmed up. Can't really simulate aiming mirrors towards Mars, though. But yeah, it seems like just having water on the surface really just speeds things along. But yeah, with this much water on Mars, we do literally bury the planet. If we had more sunlight aimed at Mars, we could reduce the amount of water, possibly. But yeah, just CO2 by itself isn't really a good way to... I mean, it's needed to warm it up initially. So yeah, there you go. Surviving Mars, if tweaked a little bit, it's sort of there. You need to add some sort of CO2 to the atmosphere first. You need to begin the initial warming of the planet so that water can actually stay. You need to get the atmosphere into a position that's breathable, possibly by melting Mars rocks that contain nitrogen and oxygen. Burn those into the atmosphere. Get your nitrogen and oxygen that way, or import it from Earth. Just make sure where you build your colony, you make sure that it won't be flooded. Because it gets very moist, it looks like. The surface gets very wet, and yeah, there's not a lot of room. Can we settle the liquid? Okay, we get a bit more land if we settle the liquid. Okay, so you get all this. Oh look, we get a little bit of Valence Marinare, so there we go. That's not too bad. You get this big island here. And you get that fun little continent. Ooh, welcome to Mars. And just to make it fun, let's go ahead and add some city lights and some vegetation. Wait, what's our composition of our atmosphere in total? Do we have an atmosphere that's too high pressure? 0.2 plus 0.15 plus 58.5 water. Or that why? Because we have 58.5. I think because we have way too much water in the atmosphere. There we go. Yeah, see, now we have vegetation. There's just too much water vapor. Oh, yeah, and then the water. So there must be there's too much water vapor in the atmosphere. Stabilize. There we go. Look, there's our greenery. Look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, I feel like the water shouldn't be this high pressure in the atmosphere. But somehow it is. I feel like most of it should be in the ocean. So I don't know if that's a bug or if I'm doing something wrong. Because yeah, everything else is good. We have 0.7 there, 0.7 there. It's just the water. There's too much of it in the atmosphere. But if I do like 0, I think that's just going to get rid of all the water? No? Okay, that just gets rid of it in the atmosphere. Okay. But then what's happening? Yeah, then we lose our equilibrium temperature. So even the water wasn't that great. I thought the water was fixing everything. It turns out it's just because I had accidentally filled the atmosphere with a frick ton of water vapor. The video. So yeah, I don't know if you can really win. Again, you probably just have to use some sort of, instead of nitrogen, but have to use some sort of chemical that's a better greenhouse. Or, obviously direct more sunlight. Obviously we are, quite far from the sun. Mars is right on the edge of the habitable zone. So yeah, I don't know. Alright, so I went ahead and loaded up Universe Sandbox again because I wasn't quite happy with that ending. And it turns out, I actually found here in this tab the actual atmospheric density. And as we can see, the atmospheric pressure isn't that high. It's not like what I was led to believe. So this is a perfectly capable planet. We have our water here. It's showing it has a bunch of atmospheres worth of water, but that's because, well, it's liquid atmospheres. The actual atmosphere mass is relatively reasonable. It's a little over thing. We could probably reduce this a little bit. And there we go. Yeah, we get our green. So, yeah, if I just found this menu and adjusted the pressure, I would have been able to fix everything. And now we have our green Mars right here. With, yeah, a very breathable atmosphere of oxygen, a bunch of water, CO2, and, yeah, nitrogen. Actually, there's not really that much nitrogen. There's probably could have, I think it ditched the nitrogen quite a bit when I reduced the pressure. So you'd have to balance this out a little bit better. But yeah, that is doable. To have more nitrogen, a bit more oxygen, probably a bit less CO2 and everything. But yeah, look at that. It's breathable. There's, so you go around the back side. There should be city lights, I think. Yeah, look, there's one. I just saw it. Look, there we go. There's a little city. There's a little Mars city. There's a little Mars city. Right there. So yeah. There you go. Terraformed Mars. Terraformed the way surviving Mars intended. Anyway, back to the video. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like. Subscribe for new videos. Have a great rest of your day. And yeah. Don't breathe on Mars. It won't end well for you.